It's annoying outside. The washing machine is running. If you hear it, I literally can't do anything about it. I'll try putting background music, but I don't live by myself. I'm only 17 years old, so that's just how it is. Hope you guys enjoy the video.
5 down to 7. Barrett outside the switch. Doncic goes
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. I hope you guys are doing well, and we have some big time New York Knicks news, NBA news, basketball news. So it actually came out by Shams, one of the top sources out there when it comes to the NBA. Breaking news, just rumors, reports, and all that. He does a really good job. I have him ranked second behind Adrian Wojnarowski if we're ranking like some of the best guys of like breaking news and all that. So the New York Knicks are actually the top suitors for Collin Sexton when it comes to all 30 NBA teams out there. Collin Sexton is someone we're not going to be able to get in free agency. We would have to trade for Collin Sexton, and the New York Knicks are in desperate need of the point guard position. We're most likely going to be losing Elfrid Payton. Should we really be calling it losing? Yes, though, he's a human being. Like, take it easy on him. You led us to the playoffs. Like, yeah, but when it comes to the point guard position, we've really struggled. It seems like for like the last 10 to 15 years, you could say our last good point guard was Stephon Marbury, but we could just go down the entire list. You could say Raymond Felton as well, but when we're talking about like star, it's probably been Stephon Marbury from the top of my head. And there's so many Knicks fans out there that are extremely greedy. Like, I understand Knicks fans that are like, Collin Sexton is not perfect. I don't look at him as a true point guard. I understand that. But some Knicks fans that are saying, oh, no. Like, our team would be ruined forever. Collin Sexton's trash. And all this. Like, he'll make us worse. Like, I understand that his playmaking has ways to go, but this is someone who just averaged 24 points per game on extremely good efficiency. When Garland went down, he averaged 6 assists per game, but still, he has ways to go as a playmaker. I really do understand that, but we're going to be taking his career really into context because a lot of people think he just puts up points on a bad basketball team. He definitely is one of the most polarizing players in the NBA. People either love him or hate him. People love his attitude. People don't like his attitude. Like, just go out there. He's a killer on the court. That's what I think of Collin Sexton. He's a killer. He's a freaking killer. Like, he wants to rip your heart out and literally he just wants you to suffer at the end of games. But he didn't get to do a lot of that because the team was terrible around him. I just don't get how people expect him to win. That team was freaking awful. He had a whole carousel of coaches, no stability, no leader in that locker room. It was just an absolute mess. I really don't understand people that like expected Collin Sexton to lead that team in the playoffs. Same thing with Devin Booker. I'm not saying they're on the same level, but newsflash, you need talent around you if you want to win basketball games. Unless you're a LeBron James, unless you're a freaking Luka Doncic, that's a whole other story. But it's like they're rare breeds. There's just not going to be another Luka. There's just not going to be another LeBron James. But taking a look at Collin Sexton here, some Knicks fans are saying, I'm not trading Obi. I'm not trading Kevin Knox, and I'm not trading a first rounder. We don't even know the full details, or we don't even know what the Cleveland Cavaliers are rumored or want to get back. But are you kidding me? Alright, all respect to Knox. Knox is a human being at the end of the day. We have to treat these players with respect. But I knew it wasn't going to work out as soon as we drafted freaking Kevin Knox. Because since when can we develop talent and be patient with talent? Yes, you could say Knox failed himself, but we also failed Knox. You could say the same thing with Frank Ntilikina. But Obi Toppin, he's never starting here as long as Randall's here. He could be a nice bench piece, but I'm not saying that Obi's complete trash, but he is replaceable throughout the draft. Like we can get someone that can replace him throughout the draft or free agency. And then you take a look at the first round pick. Unless that 19th or 21st overall pick ends up being an absolute gem, that's just going to be a very solid role player. So you're kind of saying you're trading for Knox, who may not even like get a starting gig. He's probably going to come off the bench in a whole other scenario. Like Obi Toppin, he might start with Cleveland because Cleveland actually liked him within the pre-draft or the draft process. But like, I hope Knicks fans know you're going to have to give up assets to get someone who averaged 24 points per game on extremely good efficiency, and he's only 22 years old. Like, we might even have to give up more than that. But Collin Sexton, like, he gets a lot of hate, but he also gets a lot of love. I'm someone that's kind of in between when it comes to him. I understand a lot of things that he does well, but I do understand things that he really needs to work on, like the defense and playmaking. but I don't think he's a lost cause on defense. I don't think he's absolutely lost when it comes to playmaking. He showed he could average 6 assists per game when Darius Garland went down. He played off the ball this season. Again, he's 22 years old. I just hate it when people think these players can't improve, and we have no, there's no, we can just not judge players anymore, because we judged Randall like crazy and he proved us wrong. He went from being a ball hog to distributing the ball more, even though some people still don't like his game. He doesn't have the best of feel for the game, doesn't have the highest of basketball IQ, but we should learn our lesson after Randall's huge jump at 26 years old. Wow, you take a look at a guy of Collin Sexton who's only 22 years old. Who says he can't get better? Especially with Tom Thibodeau at the head coaching position, I feel like Sexton has the mindset to get better at defense. It just comes down to the fundamentals, and again, a freaking coaching carousel and what was surrounding him. But I feel like Thibodeau could really get a lot out of Collin Sexton, and he could really discipline him out there on the basketball court. I feel like Sexton really wants to be great, and maybe he'll distribute the basketball when he realizes that he has talent around him. Again, I'm not saying the Cleveland Cavaliers are a college team. Maybe you could say that, but really what was surrounding Collin Sexton? But we're going to be getting into the positives when it comes to Collin Sexton. We know he's a blazing fast guard who can get to the rack. He can finish throughout contact. He's extremely strong. He can get to the free throw line. He can shoot it from beyond the arc. Nice handle. He can create separation. He's not afraid of the big moment either. We saw the Brooklyn Nets game. There's a pretty solid sample size of him hitting plenty of shots down the stretch of games. He can score from anywhere out there on the basketball court. But now getting into the negatives, some people look at him as a point guard, some people look at him as a shooting guard because of his lack of playmaking. Yes, his playmaking definitely needs to get better, and that's been a concern with him since Alabama, but again, what was really surrounding him at Alabama as well? You look at Cade Cunningham, what was his best thing? I'm not comparing him to Cade Cunningham, but Cade Cunningham only averaged 3 assists at Oklahoma State. People say he's a great playmaker. Why did he not average a lot of assists? He showed flashes, he made great passes. He was not surrounded by much. Again, I'm not comparing them. Before you leave a comment, I'm not. But it's really hard to get a bunch of assists when you're not surrounded by a lot of talent. But I know Darius Garland distributed the basketball well. But I'm just saying, Collin Sexton can improve. He's 22 years old, who just put up 24 points per game on extremely good efficiency and shot the ball well from downtown. And no one thought he was going to be a good shooter coming out of college. A lot of people thought his shot was flat. But for people to think he can improve, and I feel like he has that type of mindset that he wants to prove a lot of people wrong. He's a dog out there on the court, but definitely the deficiencies. Like I said, he's not some people don't look at him as a point guard. Some people don't look at him as a shooting guard. His defense has ways to go. It's really up and down. He could have great games that he's fantastic, and then he has games he's not so great. I think some fundamentals really have to do with him on defense, and you could say with playmaking as well. But the playmaking is definitely a big thing that he definitely needs to work on. You could say his shot selection is not the best. And what's he going to bring when his shot is off? Because he's not the best of playmaker, not the best of defender. So I really do understand that. I just think a lot of people, I don't know, just hate him for someone that is extremely talented. But I understand people want the more traditional pass-first type of point guard. But I think he gets too much hate in my opinion. But I'm going to bring it up again. Tom Thibodeau, however you want to pronounce his name. I hear freaking Julius Randle say Tom Thibodeau. I hear people say Tom Thibodeau. And the reason I say Tom Thibodeau is because I see a bunch of other YouTubers saying freaking Thibodeau. I like Thibodeau. It sounds cooler. But again, maybe it would be spelled differently. But if you get a guy of Tom Thibodeau who's going to hold players accountable, why can't he do the same thing with Collin Sexton? I know there's a lot of reports out there that the players did not like him. And I also think his defense can get better again, having Tom Thibodeau who could hold him accountable. Tom Thibodeau made Obi Toppin look decent at defense. I'm sure he could do the same thing with Collin Sexton. He could rein in his shot selection. He could really help him out there on the court. I think Collin Sexton can get better. I'm not saying he's going to be a Curry level. I'm not saying he's going to be Steve Nash. I'm not saying he's going to be Alonzo Ball distributing the basketball, but he can get better. I don't think people realize players can get better. And if you get into the fit, I really don't think it's as bad as some people think. He's not absolutely ball dominant. He could play without the ball. He actually does a really good job moving without the basketball. He cuts very well, makes some sharp cuts, and he could also spot up and shoot it from beyond the arc. But I know Randall really needs the ball in his hands, and if you really want to see RJ reach his full ceiling, he'll need the ball in his hands. But yes, I do understand the fit. You want someone that is more balanced, someone that could score but could also distribute the basketball at the same time and can make the team better. But I do think he also makes the team better by scoring the ball. We need someone that can consistently put pressure on the defense. And if we go to the playoffs, we really do need someone that can go out there and get a bucket and is a bucket getter, because that was definitely not happening when it came to these past playoffs. Randall couldn't get a bucket. RJ isn't at that stage of his career that he could really create for himself. Derrick Rose was doing it, but he is getting older. But at the end of the day, I don't really yes, I want to see RJ be fantastic. I want to see Randall be fantastic, but I want to see my team succeed. And we'll see what goes on to happen. Maybe if Collin Sexton has teammates that he could trust, like an RJ, like a Randall, maybe he'll distribute the basketball. Maybe I'm going crazy and he never ends up developing his playmaking. But we'll see what happens. Thank you guys so much for the great amount of support, and peace out, y'all.